You're walking home late at night, the moon is full and the streets are eerily quiet. Suddenly you hear a growl, low, guttural, and unmistakably inhuman. Your heart races as you turn around, and there it is, a creature straight out of your worst nightmares, a werewolf. But what if this wasn't just a scene from a movie? What if werewolves were real? How would our world change? Would we survive, or would we become the prey? Stick around, because today we're diving into the terrifying, fascinating, and downright mind-blowing implications of werewolves existing in our modern world. Now, before you dismiss this as pure fantasy, let's consider the facts. Throughout history, nearly every culture has had some version of the werewolf myth. From ancient Greece to Native American folklore, these creatures have haunted our collective imagination for centuries. But what if there's more to these stories than just campfire tales? What if they're based on something real? Something science could explain? In this video, we'll explore the societal impact, the scientific possibilities, and the dangers of werewolves walking among us. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll never look at a full moon the same way again. Let's start by imagining a world where werewolves are real. How would society react? First, law enforcement would face an unprecedented challenge. Imagine trying to arrest a suspect who transforms into a 7-foot-tall, razor-clawed beast under a full moon. Police departments would need specialized units, possibly armed with tranquilizers or silver-based weaponry. And what about the justice system? Would a werewolf be held accountable for crimes committed during a transformation, or would they be seen as victims of their condition? But it doesn't stop there. The existence of werewolves would undoubtedly spark a wave of conspiracy theories. Social media would explode with hashtags like #werewolf cover-up or #moonlit truth. Some might even form movements advocating for werewolf rights, while others would call for their eradication. And let's not forget the economic impact. New industries would emerge overnight: silver weapon manufacturing, werewolf-proof housing, and even lunar cycle tracking apps. But with progress comes prejudice. Discrimination against werewolves could become a harsh reality, leading to a new kind of societal divide. Think about it. Would werewolves be allowed to hold jobs? Would they need special identification? And what about healthcare? Hospitals would need to prepare for werewolf patients, possibly creating specialized wards for their unique needs. The ripple effects would be felt in every corner of society, from education to entertainment. Werewolf-themed movies and TV shows would take on a whole new meaning, blurring the line between fiction and reality. Now that we've explored the societal implications, let's dive into the science behind lycanthropy. Could werewolves actually exist, and if so, how? From a scientific perspective, the idea of werewolves isn't as far-fetched as it seems. Let's start with biology. Could a genetic mutation cause a human to transform into a wolf-like creature? Some researchers believe that conditions like hypertrichosis, which causes excessive hair growth, could be a starting point. Add in heightened senses, increased strength, and a lunar trigger, and you've got the makings of a werewolf. But what about the transformation itself? Could it be triggered by environmental factors like the moon's gravitational pull or even hormonal changes? Some scientists speculate that the moon's influence on human behavior, think increased emergency room visits during full moons, could be linked to ancient evolutionary traits. And if werewolves were real, could science find a cure? Imagine gene therapy or advanced pharmaceuticals designed to suppress the transformation. The possibilities are endless, but so are the ethical questions. Would altering a werewolf's biology be a form of oppression or a necessary step for coexistence? Let's take it a step further. What if lycanthropy were contagious? Imagine a scenario where a werewolf bite could pass on the condition, much like a virus. This would open up a whole new field of study: lycanthropic virology. Scientists would race to develop vaccines or treatments, while governments would grapple with containment strategies. The stakes would be higher than ever, and the line between human and monster would blur even further. Of course, with great power comes great danger. Let's talk about the risks werewolves would pose to humanity. Werewolves wouldn't just be a curiosity. They'd be a threat. Physically, their strength and aggression during transformation could lead to widespread attacks. Imagine a werewolf outbreak in a densely populated city. The death toll would be catastrophic, and the risk of a pandemic, whether from bites or some new lycanthropic virus, would keep scientists up at night. But the dangers aren't just physical. The psychological impact on society would be immense. Fear and paranoia would spread faster than any virus. People might avoid going out at night, and full moons could become synonymous with danger. Schools and businesses might close during lunar peaks, and travel could grind to a halt. The mental health toll would be staggering. with anxiety and PTSD rates skyrocketing. And then there's the ethical dilemma. How do we treat werewolves? Do we lock them up, or do we find a way to coexist? Some might argue for werewolf reservations, isolated areas where they can live without posing a threat to humans. Others might push for stricter regulations like mandatory tracking devices or curfews. The debate would be fierce, and the stakes would be life or death. To understand where we're going, we need to look at where we've been. Let's explore the mythological origins of werewolves. Werewolves have been part of human culture for thousands of years. In ancient Greece, the story of Lycaon, a king cursed by Zeus to become a wolf, is one of the earliest recorded werewolf tales. Native American folklore speaks of skinwalkers, shamans who could transform into animals. Even in medieval Europe, werewolf trials were as common as witch hunts. But why are these stories so universal? Psychologists believe that werewolves represent our deepest fears: the loss of control, the beast within, and the unknown. They're a reflection of societal anxieties, from the fear of the wilderness to the struggle between civilization and savagery. Understanding these myths helps us see why the idea of werewolves continues to captivate us. Interestingly, many cultures have their own unique spin on the werewolf myth. In France, the beast of Gévaudan terrorized the countryside in the 18th century, sparking widespread panic. In Africa, the legend of the were hyena serves a similar role. These stories remind us that the werewolf is more than just a monster. It's a symbol of our collective fears and desires. Finally, let's imagine a future where humans and werewolves live together. Is peaceful coexistence possible? Imagine a world where werewolves are just another part of society. Schools might have lunar cycle accommodations, and workplaces could offer transformation leave. Werewolves could contribute to fields like search and rescue, where their heightened senses would be invaluable, but integration wouldn't be easy. Prejudice and fear would persist, and ensuring werewolf rights would be an ongoing battle. The key to coexistence would be understanding. By studying werewolves scientifically and addressing their needs, we could create a world where humans and werewolves thrive together. It wouldn't be perfect, but it would be a step toward a more inclusive future. Think about the cultural impact too. Werewolf art, music, and literature would flourish, offering new perspectives on what it means to be human, or part human. Festivals celebrating lunar cycles could become global events, bringing people together in ways we've never seen before. But let's not sugarcoat it. There would be challenges. Werewolf-human relationships would face scrutiny, and children born with lycanthropy would need special care and support. Yet history has shown us that humanity is capable of incredible adaptation. If we can learn to live with werewolves, we might just learn to live better with each other. So what if werewolves were real? Would our world descend into chaos, or would we rise to the challenge? The truth is, we'll never know. Unless, of course, the full moon reveals something we've been missing all along. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Would you welcome werewolves into society, or would you run for the hills? Until next time, stay curious, and maybe keep some silver handy.